Get downloading the One Football app. It is free. The link is in the description for that. All the latest news, your transfers, your gossip, stats with Newcastle United. Every football fan needs it.
Hi guys, what a day it has been if you're a fan of Newcastle United, well, and football in general really. Rafa Benitez has left. It's been a hectic day, really has. It all started this morning when Newcastle released a statement saying Newcastle and Rafa Benitez would no longer, well, be on the same team, will be united. But look, we're fans expecting it. I think from the last couple of days, it seemed that all journalists have decided that Rafa was probably going to go. Mainly to do from the club, maybe not Rafa. It seems that the club have pulled the plug on the deal. Mike Ashley's pulled the plug on the deal rather than Rafa Benitez. It seemed that Rafa Benitez wanted final crunch talks. But again, would that have resolved anything? Would we have managed to get maybe just one more year with Rafa Benitez? Probably. But it's really, really difficult to take. I think Rafa Benitez is probably the best manager we've had since Bobby Robson. And it's really, really difficult to take. Really, really difficult to take. It has almost the aura of maybe the likes of when Houghton left. I know Houghton and Benitez are different managers and obviously different situations, but when Houghton left Newcastle and Alan Pardew came in, Alan Pardew was never liked. And Chris Houghton was, it was a disgrace for that decision to sack Chris Houghton, and this one's even bigger, to not keep a hold of Rafa Benitez. Who knows what's going to happen to Newcastle? Obviously, for the immediate future, we haven't got a manager. And before we even discuss that, I want to say a massive thank you to Rafa Benitez, because Rafa, for me, built hope for Newcastle United. He made Newcastle United a giant of a club again. I know he got us from the Championship and that was deemed as a success, and it was. But the fact they managed to finish 10th with some of the players that we've had in the last 2 years and then keep us in the Premier League this season by finishing 13th is a remarkable job. Remarkable job. And he can go to, whichever club. He goes to China for the money. If any fan gets offered a job 5 times the amount what they're earning now, you're going to find it hard to, you're going to find it difficult not to take. But he can leave Newcastle with his head extremely held high under the difficult circumstances. Mike Ashley has to leave this football club as soon as possible. And if that means not going to matches, then I think we have to just stop going to matches. And I know that's what Newcastle fans don't want to do because we're one of the most loyal fan bases. But for me, it seems to be the only way that you'll get the message. Will the club be sold? I don't generally think the club will be sold at the minute. I know it might sound quite pessimistic, but I just don't see it happening. I really don't. I think if that was going to happen, I don't think Benitez would be allowed to leave. I think Benitez would have been told just stay, just keep, even if you have to sign for a year, just to make sure this takeover happens, and just do it. Just do it, basically. But that's why I don't think that'll happen. But again, it's just a sad day for Newcastle in terms of people being linked with the job. I've seen Avram Grant just get ruled out recently in the last hour or so. Gary Monk, Jose Mourinho, wherever that's come from. Look, whoever takes on this job, it's a poison chalice if Mike Ashley's still in charge of this football club, and I don't think he'll get the backing he deserves because of the fact Rafa Benitez was the manager previous. Alan Pardew never got that when Chris Houghton took over, and I feel that whoever the manager is going to take over Rafa Benitez will probably get the same. Is that unfair? Is it not? Get your comments in below. Let's see what Kyle has to say.
So, following that absolutely ridiculous news that Rafa Benitez is no longer going to be one manager after the end of the month, the Magpie Group and If Rafa Goes, We Go responded with a tweet with an immediate protest at 6 p.m. outside the Sir Bobby Robson statue. And I thought I would go up for sure. Anything that they're going to do in regards to a protest against Mike Ashley at this point, I'm willing to go to. I'm willing to take my time to support, no problem at all. Get up there at 6 o'clock. The media were there, ITV, Sky Sports, BBC correspondents were all there, as well as 200 to 300 Newcastle fans, which I think, given how short notice things were, I think that was a decent turnout. All very vocal against the current ownership, which is no surprise, and very vocal in Rafa Benitez's departure, which is no surprise. The one thing I was really happy with is that the Magpie Group had a petition to see who was up for what's going to happen next, and I've of course put my name down as I'm willing to help with anything that they're willing to do next, and of course I'll pass that on to you, and I'm sure they pass it on through their social media of what they're going to do next. Because the goal's simple now. We need to unite as a fan base. None of this at each other on Twitter, at each other on social media, getting at each other about how you're lining Ashley's pockets and all that. We need to unite as a fan base to drive this man out. He's got rid of the one glimmer of hope we've had in 12 years, and that was Rafa Benitez. The man came in 3 years ago, he gave the fans hope, he gave the fans something to look forward to again, which is something that was deprived of Newcastle for a long time under the likes of Alan Pardew, John Carver, Steve McLaren. You name it, we haven't had that. We haven't had a connection with a manager like we have with Rafa Benitez probably since Sir Bobby Robson, and it's just such a shit feeling, because as a fan we shouldn't have to put up with this, but you get the feeling that, mate, Ashley, it's just going to keep going and going, so we need to unite as a fan base now and really kick on, because if we don't, this is what we're going to have to put up with for a long time. So I think the protest went well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with in the future. Ashley out.